Wow, July was a crazy month. Business was really good for me. We got 2 new cameras, really 3, but the ones that we're really talking about is the Canon R5 and the Sony A7S III. So let's go and start with the Canon. I think the Canon camera is insane. It's packed with a lot of features that you can shoot 8K. Now, personally, I don't believe that most shooters are going to be using 8K because one, those file sizes is going to be extremely huge. You're going to have a computer that can support that, hard drives and storage to be able to store your footage. And then you're also just going to have to deal with the overheating fact. Now, I've never tested out this camera. I am a small content creator. You can see the size of the channel, but not having access to that and having watched tons and tons of reviews on that camera from other content creators such as Gerald Undone, Peter McKinnon, just other bigger YouTubers out there, I can safely say that this camera, one, it's a beast, but I believe that it's more of a photo-centric camera rather than it be video. I feel like the video side, it has crazy specs for video, but it hasn't mastered it where, on the photography side with Canon, you've already mastered that aspect. The Sony A7S III was meant for video performance. I mean, that's the whole reason why we've been waiting so long, because we wanted a video camera that one can shoot full frame, can shoot 4K 120 frames per second, that would have 10-bit colors. I believe it's 422 or 420. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's 422. That we can record RAW, that has a flip out screen, that has good battery life, that has a new and developed menu system. I mean, having come from Sony myself, now I've switched over to Fuji completely, but seeing that is something promising that Sony is doing, and it's learning and hearing from its customers. It didn't want to push out a new camera with just the crazy specs, like 8K or 6K, but it wanted to master a realm of what us consumers and what we're really getting into, which is being 4K. And understanding that dynamic range and colors and not overheating and conveniency of understanding what your menus are is a priority for its consumers. That really says a lot about Sony and where it's heading towards a different direction. Where Canon is still catching up to the mirrorless game and trying to push out new specs so you can get more attention. However, it's bringing on negativity that Sony had to endure about overheating now into Canon with overheating issues and things of that nature. Now, who are these cameras really meant for? I do believe that the Canon R5 is really meant for a photographer mainly, that's wants to get and dive into video and that wants to have those specs but doesn't really care for it and doesn't really shoot for very periods of long time. And so if you're a Canon user and you're already invested into the RF lenses lineup and EF lenses, then absolutely the Canon R5 is going to be great for you, especially if you shoot a lot of photography with that 48 megapixel. You're just going to be able to do a lot and accomplish a lot with that camera. And if you want to get some video every here now and then you're going to be able to get great quality video. Don't get me wrong. Canon's going to have some good colors. It's going to have, the resolution is going to be there. And then you're also going to have the ability to shoot RAW, which is going to be pretty awesome, especially at the price point where Canon's currently at. So that's really big pluses, especially if you're more of a photographer who wants to dive into video. Now, the Sony A7S III for me it's a videographer's camera. It can be either your A or your B. And that really depends on what type of work that you're doing. If you're a hobbyist getting into this, I don't suggest buying either of these two cameras. If you're a hobbyist, I suggest spending money and learning techniques, mastering a camera like the Fuji X-T3 or lower price cameras where you're just understanding where you understand lighting, you understand composition, you understand how to edit properly, and you have the support of a computer, external hard drives, and all these other things that you're going to need for both of these cameras, really. Now, if you're in the phase where I'm currently at, where you've already build your assets, meaning you've built your tripod, you build your gear, you understand how to use your gear, you have a computer that can withstand that type of file sizes and can render these things out and be able to have playback. You have external hard drives and a lot of, storage for these cameras. Then that's the point where you have to decide whether or not you want to go the mirrorless route or you want to go the cinema camera route. And that's where I'm currently at right now, where I'm debating whether I want a Canon C200 or the Panasonic EV1 or the Sony A7SIII Mark II. That just depends on my needs and what direction I want to head to. I do believe that this camera, either of these cameras, but I'll mainly say the Sony A7S III for wedding videos, it's going to be probably the best bang for your buck. At $3,500, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. You're going to be able to record crazy footage, and it's going to be easy for you to nimble and go around and just kill it, like, honestly. Now, for me personally, would I buy the Sony A7S III for weddings? I would not, because I already have a great experience shooting with the Fuji X-T3. I'm invested into it. I love the system. I love the colors. I love the 420 10-bit it does, and I'm about to add an Atomos Ninja 5, so I'll be able to have unlimited recording time. Now, the Fuji X-T3 does overheat every now and then, and obviously you can solve that by getting a better camera or getting a cinema camera. So for me, I'm heading into a direction within my business where I want to start creating more commercial work. And if I do any more high-end weddings and stuff of that nature that need these recording ceremonies or long time, then I have that camera. And so it solves two issues with one. And having internal ND filters and XOR inputs and SDI and also a full HDMI, it's just more convenient for me just to get a cinema camera. So I'm just going to save and wait to get it hopefully next year. However, if you do mainly weddings and you want to have multiple of these cameras, I would suggest going with the Sony A7S III. You have the full HDMI port. They're small, they're nimble, great low light performance that Sony's obviously known for with that A7S lineup. And you're just going to be able to you're going to be able to kill it. You also need to learn the fundamentals. So don't let gear just consume you and spend so much money into it, because I did that in the beginning. And I'm paying for it. I'm still paying off old cameras in which I wish I never would have purchased. I wish I would have taken my time to understand what direction I wanted to head as a content creator. And from that point on, start building out the gear and the list that I need to be able to achieve that. So don't get all caught up in the hype. These are two great cameras, but again, do you really need it? For your business needs or for your hobbyist needs or whatever that you do. The last stage is going to be, are you already established filmmaker? You already have your crazy Canon, maybe your Canon C500 or a Sony FX9, and you want a solid B cam. Then either the Canon R5 will be good too as well, but I'm just going to recommend a lot more the Sony A7S III because it's meant for video. It doesn't have that overheating issue. It shoots 4K 120. You'll also be able to get RAW with an external monitor. Yeah, it's an add-on that you're going to have to buy later on, like the Atomos Ninja 5, but again, you're going to have that and you can start building out your gear list prior. But if you're established, content creator, DP, you already have some of these items, so you're going to be set regardless. So again, I think the Sony A7S III is the winner when it comes to video for this camera. It's not meant for photography. The R5 to me is more of I won't say true hybrid because it hasn't really mastered video, but it has given you some aspects for video to create great content with. Whereas the A7S III is a master of video, not photography. So I wouldn't really even call that a hybrid. I would just call it more of a mirrorless video camera in that sense. New category, I guess. Either of these cameras is going to be great with your workflow. If you already have tons of Canon lenses, then stay with it. Don't switch over to the other. Even though with the Sony E-mount, you're able to have, mount EF lenses and whatnot, but you may not be able to take advantage of its autofocus, and its new improved autofocus actually. So it's a lot of different things and pros and cons to weigh out. Hopefully this video has kind of given you some more perspective and just allowed you to understand that gear isn't everything. It's about where you're at, what's your knowledge right here, and what's your budget looking like. And then from that point on, start making decisions for the future of how you're able to take advantage of this gear. and don't get consumed so much in new camera releases and gotta have the most latest thing. So hopefully this video helps you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.